What's up, YouTube? This is True Nerds. I'm Drolly. This is Cobsy coming at you with another weekly video game podcast.
Hello, hello. If you guys have been here before, thank you so much for the support. We truly appreciate it. If this is your first time, welcome. We hope you enjoy it. Consider subscribing, liking the video. Every single Sunday we're recording just two dudes talking about video games, tech stuff. Happy New Year's, everyone. We are into 2022. Feels weird to say. I know every single year. I screw up the date for about the first month. So welcome again and enjoy. So going into the new year, everyone does New Year's resolutions. So Jolie and I thought it would be a great time to discuss two topics. Topic number one, every year means more video games. So that equals backlog. So topic number one is going to be, how are we going to manage our backlogs this year? Topic number two, super simple one. What is your New Year's resolutions for video games and or tech? So with that, Drolly, how are you going to manage your backlogs, and what do you think your, we'll say top five, what are your top five video games that you want to manage this year?
That's a tough one for sure, especially with 40 games coming out in the next 3 months, with some pretty anticipated ones. But most of mine are some offline games here, some single-player games. So can definitely manage those at different times that aren't peak online gaming times. So how I'm going to manage it is, we normally, you normally get on at around in between like 9 and 10:30 at a time frame, and depending on like when Maddie starts to like fall asleep or goes down, like I get on between like 8 and 9. So I think I'm just gonna hop on one of these single player games, play for an hour, before you get on or before other people get on, and then start multiplayer around like 9:30, 10 o'clock. Finish off the night with multiplayer.
I think that's the hardest thing for me, is you got friends on and you got all these games you want to play, but when your friends are on, you want to play multiplayer with them. So as I was thinking about this, as we brought up the topic and I started brainstorming, I actually came up with the same idea. I think chipping away at your backlog is probably the best way to do it, because if you look at the whole scale of your backlog, you're never going to accomplish it if you try to sit down and finish the game, because one, a lot of these single player games that we want to beat are super long, and number two, if your friends are on, you're going to play with your friends. That just makes your night that much better when you're playing with your buds. So I think chipping away at it, whether it's 30 minutes here, 1 hour here, that will add up. So you said you got a lot of single player games, right?
Oh yeah.
So what are your what's the number one you're going to dive into right away?
Top five is
it doesn't need to be top five.
So I have 8 games on the Switch that I want to like get back into, that I bought this year that I haven't finished, and then I have another 7 on Steam. And so number one game that I want to go through on my backlog, or one anticipated game, is Ruined King in the League of Legends universe for the Switch.
I almost bought that this weekend, actually.
Yeah. I think that's just going to be a awesome game for the Switch specifically. I can knock it out in some 20 to 30 minute segments here and there while I'm waiting for this, or while I'm hanging out with Maddie on the couch watching the same show or a movie that I don't really care about all that much. She does it to me all the time. Anytime I suggest a movie to watch, she's like on her phone and immediately falls asleep half hour later. It's like, that's okay, funny. You don't really care. So it goes both ways. But then number 2 is one I have to go back and finish, is Monster Hunter Stories. I have to go back and finish that one. I absolutely loved it. It's a great game. Can't wait for them to see what they do with that in the future. And it really, I think, showed what the adventure capture monster genre could be, what Pokemon could do, what some of these other companies could do with some of these kind of games. So have to go back and play that one. I also bought on Steam, or on the Switch, it was on sale, Dragon Quest 11.
Phenomenal game.
Yeah.
I haven't beat it, but it's phenomenal. It's on my backlog.
Amazing things about it. I watched some gameplay and actually started it on the Xbox when it was on Game Pass about 6 months ago. And I really like how you can switch back and forth between the old classic 2D style and the new updated graphics. And so I thought that'd be a perfect game for the Switch. The graphics don't look that much different, which is great. I love those games that have that really simplistic art style that can translate from a mobile console like the Switch back to PC and still look good on both. So those are my top 4. Why don't you list off some of yours and we can jump back to me?
Yeah, so just to add to that, Dragon Quest 11, it's been one of those games that has been on my radar since it came out. I played the demo before it launched. I think the demo, I forgot how many hours you could play that demo, but it was a lot. And I played it, I think I played 3 or 4 hours of the demo, and I actually stopped myself because I was so in love with the game. So that's going to be a really good heavy hitter for you. The Dragon Quest series, if you're not familiar with it, essentially is why when the Dragon Quest series came to the West, that's what launched JRPGs being a thing. So I'm not sure. Yeah, it's they introduced that to us.
Yeah.
And it's a rinse and repeat series. Obviously, you know what you're getting with Dragon Quest, but just a phenomenal game. I played the first game on my phone. Actually, you can buy a lot of them on your phone for like 99 cents. It's worth it just to kind of see where the RPG genre or JRPG genre generated from. So
for sure. Yeah, I heard it's like one of the longest running game series out there.
Yeah, it's cool looking at the history of it. I'm a nerd when it comes to that stuff. I like knowing how we got to where we are today.
Oh, for sure. I was watching how Pokemon came to be and like the Game Boy games, and it was originally created as a Game Boy game and then branched off into an anime and a card game and stuff. But it's just super interesting from a super small studio. I think they said they had like 5 to 10 employees.
That's crazy. I had no clue about that.
And they worked on it as like a hobby. They're
That's
like,
wild.
There's no set hours. You come in, you work whenever you want to. If you don't want to work, don't work. Like, he wanted to create this cool, relaxed atmosphere, and he actually grew up in a really small town in Japan, and he modeled it after that. He used to go out and catch bugs and collect them, and so that's what inspired this. And then he had moved and done some different things, with his work career. He created a video game magazine, Game Freak, and then he went back to his hometown, and it wasn't this small rural town anymore. It modernized and grew, and buildings were everywhere, and so he felt bad that the youth of that era weren't gonna go out and adventure and catch bugs like him and his friends used to. So that's what inspired this idea, and him wanting to push the RPG video game era forward. He was bored of all the arcade games that were currently out and what they could do and what companies were trying to do. It just seemed more of the same, and so he wanted to really push something and do something really unique.
And now they are a multi-million-dollar powerhouse.
The most valuable IP out there.
It's crazy.
It is.
All right, so my backlog. Number 1, Tales of Arise. I hate when you love a game so much, but you don't beat it. That's my biggest pet peeve, and it happens all the time. And I was thinking about this today. Why does this happen? Because back when we were little, it didn't happen, and it's a simple answer. It's money. We have money now, so when a new game comes out that we want, we purchase it, and the previous games are on the back burner. Back in the day, you had a game, and you didn't get another game until Christmas or your birthday, which forced you to beat games. So it's kind of it's a good thing and a bad thing, because you have multiple games to choose from nowadays. But for me, Tales of Arise, I was loving it, and then Halo Infinite dropped, so I jumped immediately to that. So that is my number 1. I've talked about this on the podcast before. It's my number 1 game, RPG of the year. I haven't beat it.
How far are you into it?
I think I'm 25 hours or so.
Okay.
So I'm decently invested, and I actually stopped at a good point where I'd remember the story. Sometimes you jump back into those huge RPGs and you have no fucking clue what's going on.
I think that's always my biggest barrier to getting back into my backlog is, I play them for a good 3-4 hour, 5 hour chunks, and I get up into the 7 to 8 hour time frame of the game, and so some of these single player experiences are only 10 to 15 hours anyways. But then something in Destiny pops off, or your friends invite you every day to play the next multiplayer game or whatever else, and so you do that for a week or two, and you're like, crap, where was I?
What the hell was I doing? What are the controls?
The controls are the biggest, because it's like I'm like getting towards the end game where they're expecting you to have these controls down and mastered, and I'm trying to pick it up and relearn it, and so I play 15 minutes of it and I put it back down. It's like, I don't want to get into the weeds on where the controls are again and stuff.
So then you start the game over and then you don't finish it.
Yeah, exactly. Never get back to.
Yeah. So yeah, I stopped at a good point there. In love with the game, phenomenal. So I'm gonna go back. I'm definitely gonna beat that this year. I'm gonna force myself to it. Number 2 is Sakuro Shadow Dice Twice.
Nice.
Phenomenal game.
Thought about buying it.
It's on sale for $30 on Steam right now.
That's what has got me.
Yep. Super hard game. It's very frustrating. It's very fast paced. Imagine Jedi Fallen Order on steroids, where it is extremely relentless. Like I said, I've spent multiple hours on a single boss fight. Literally stayed up until 4 in the morning until I beat the bastard.
Yeah.
I was so pissed.
I think I'm gonna save that experience of that genre for Elden Ring.
Yes.
I don't want to get burnt out before that. So
yeah, it's one of those games where it's so rewarding, but it can trigger you, obviously. So I'm gonna restart that game. It's funny because I'm at a point where I just beat a boss, but I was mentally exhausted from play. I think I had 40 hours in the game. I was mentally exhausted, and I was I'm just gonna take a break, and that break turned into 2 years. So phenomenal game, one of my favorite games of all times, and I haven't beat it. So number 3, I'm gonna throw this into a basket, is I'm gonna try to beat as many Zelda games as I can this year.
Yes.
So I just got the 2DS. It's going to be here tomorrow. And then my first game that's coming in is Ocarina of Time 3D. So super excited about that. I'm going to try to do Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and A Link Between Worlds. So those are my top 3 I'm going to shoot for, and then eventually I'm going to go for the new Switch Zelda, the remake that you have. I can't think of the name right now. Skyward Sword.
Yep.
So that's that. Number 4 is going to be Dark Souls 3. So I have yet to even play that one, actually. I own it, but I bought it on a steep sale on CD Keys. I think I paid $9 for it or something.
Nice.
I did Dark Souls Remastered. I've actually never beat that either. Typical thing, right? Like we just talked about. But Dark Souls 3 I really want to play because that is one of those games that everyone raves about.
Yeah.
So, and you can see it's a lot of From Software games because of Elden Ring.
Yep.
And then number 5 is going to be a tie for me. And it's going to be between Control, which I played a couple hours of it. The game is absolutely beautiful, and the story is super intriguing to me. And then Horizon Zero Dawn. So those are a tie. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go after first, but those are the top 5 on my backlog. My backlog, I made a list today, and it is so big because, like I said, I respect the history of gaming and how it got us to where we are today.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm looking at a lot of 360 games that are, remade or HD remastered, whatever. So it's hard to pick and choose. Even the top 5 was pretty hard for me, and I try to keep it to today's video game era and relevant. Even part of me wants to go replay the entire Halo series. So
yeah,
for like the 6th time.
But, those almost made my list as well. Especially, I think the one that like really jumped out was the Halo 2 Remastered.
You haven't played that?
No, because like the game launched in such a bad state that I just like put it off and was waiting till it was fixed, and then like nobody else kind of got on.
I'll
or
play
got
with
back
you.
on it, and then obviously Destiny really took over.
But, you should uninstall Destiny.
I'd reinstall it.
No, I'll play Halo 2 with you. The cutscene, the remastered cutscenes are so good. They're just so amazing. Even if you just go watch the movie like on YouTube, you know, one of the people who made like all the cutscenes into a movie. Dude, so good. Halo 2 is the best game ever invented, ever made.
It's good, and so I definitely like that one. I was like, man, that would be a great one to go back and play and finish. But I still have a few more Switch games, and then I have a bunch of Steam games. One of which you're gonna be like, dude, you got to go play that one. But so I have to finish Immortals: Phoenix Rising. But I have that for the Switch and the Xbox, and the beauty of that game is the cross save. Like, just
I didn't know that.
Just I love it. I love being able to just play it on my Xbox, you know, save it, pick it up on the Switch on the go, and continue exactly where I was left off.
That's amazing.
So if you see those on sale, definitely pick that up. A really good game. It was one of Ubisoft's best open world games this generation, because they gone to this terrible open world model that just wants you to keep playing and playing and playing for 80 to 120 hours, and they want you to buy XP boosts so you can skip all that.
Motherfuckers. The last good game they had was Far Cry 3. That was literally my last game. Loved it. And they went from like, not to get off track here, off topic, but they went from such a phenomenal new way of playing video games, open world concept, to shit. Just I mean, they just like they jumped off a fucking cliff
or pioneered a new way to do open world, and then the corporate side steps in and they're like, hey, how can we monetize this?
Yep.
I want all of they publicly stated they wanted all their games to be this open world massive experience that you needed to just you didn't have to put any money down, but you know, for those people who just worked a lot, you could just pay a bunch extra to skip a bunch of the tedious stuff in the game, and it's just like they can't stop shooting themselves in the foot. And honestly, I mean, I love Immortals: Phoenix Rising, but I think I'm going to stay away from a lot of Ubisoft games until maybe they start to pull an EA and get their crap figured out.
Right. No one's boycotted them horribly yet. Like, people have talked shit, but no one's boycotted.
Yeah, they're going hard into the NFTs. They're this like first company that's pioneered it, or are continuing staying the course, because they've never gone through a huge backlash like EA has, where EA and all these other companies announced that they were, you know, considering doing NFTs and they were working on implementing them, and then everyone was like, do not, please stop. And so all the companies paused it, because you know they're going to go back to it eventually or in some way, but they publicly stated that they weren't going to implement them in their next set of games, and Ubisoft is like, no, we're going in.
Go hard in the paint, baby.
Yeah, exactly, in the wrong direction. So unfortunately, I think that one's going to be my last Ubisoft game for a while. But then I have this one is a classic that got remade for the Switch, that I've heard just nothing but great things about, and that if you kind of like that Pokemon style game, Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth is like a must play.
Really?
Yeah. Came out, I think, originally for like the PS2. It was like a great PS2 game, and I think only for the PS2, and obviously it just kind of got bundled in and lost to everybody out, like the things of time. But they remade it for the Switch. I started kind of playing it, but then I like got off track of it. But anybody who's like likes Digimon or anything like that, say it's just a really, really good game. An awesome kind of like RPG thing where you build like your team out, kind of like some of the classic Final Fantasies and stuff, but with interchangeable characters, different Digimon. So I really want to go back and play that one. The next two were just like bonus ones if I can get to, was Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom.
Another Ubisoft game.
I know that this is one that they nailed.
Yeah,
because
they crushed it.
They couldn't screw this one up, or Nintendo would never let them use their IP again. So, and you know, it's kind of uncharacteristic for Nintendo to let another company really do Mario without heavy involvement from Nintendo.
It's such a unique game too. Tactical based,
right.
You know, tactical turn, moving squares. You know, nothing but good things I've heard. I've never played it, but and there's steep sales too. You can get that game for like $12.
I know they're coming out with either a big expansion or like a second one this year. So I'd like to go back and beat that one. They've already come out with like one expansion, but I'd like to go back and beat that because I did have a lot of fun. And it's a great strategy game, and one of those, like, because it's turn-based, awesome game to just, like, be able to pick up, play a couple rounds, put the Switch to sleep, and go back and do whatever else.
Yep.
And then Pokemon Snap was another great game that, that was a spiritual successor to the original N64 Snap. That was just, like, a lot of fun. The only reason I stopped playing it was because it didn't open up enough fast enough. They kept wanting you to run through the same courses to get like higher scores or something, and so I only had like 2 or 3 courses, and I hadn't unlocked or progressed enough of like other courses. Because then, like, the more you level up, then these other ones you can go back to, and different things happen, and you unlock like a different route or different engagements. But I didn't get. I must have been like just shy of kind of getting that breaking point. But really fun game. Definitely want to go back and beat that. And then as far as Steam goes, this is one that you're gonna love. Is I picked up Guardians of the Galaxy.
Dude, I saw. I commented. I commented on you when you bought it. I'm like, dude, let's fucking go. Because that was on my backlog too, but I didn't put it in my top 5. That game,
it's got nothing but like awards and people raving about it. The only thing that's like holding me back from really playing it and digging deep into it is I'm not sure I'm gonna like the combat system. I don't know if it's gonna be for me. Where you're basically, your auto attacks really don't do anything, and you have to engage your other teammates, tell them, hey, you go here and do this, and you go here and attack this guy, and that's kind of how you progress through it. But obviously a lot of people really like it, and like I've kind of said before, is if a game does something really well in a genre that I generally don't like, I'll still check it out and can find a lot of enjoyment in it if they do a lot of things really, really well.
Right. Yeah. I think with that, the reason they did that is because if you look at Star-Lord as a character, he's not a spectacular superhero. He is the glue to his team. And that's why he's controlling his team in the game. And because my original thought on that game was like, yeah, saying kind of what you just said. But then the more I thought about it, and I watched ACG, shout out to him because he's the man and the only reviewer I watch. His review of the game nailed it, because he went in very hesitant because of how the characters are different. They're not like the actual Marvel movies or the comics. They're different look and personality and this and that. But after watching his review of it, it's a must buy for me. So I need to get in on that. But
for sure, I mean, I've heard that the characters in this are better than in the movies.
Really?
Yeah, like
that's
they
crazy.
do it. They
that's a big statement.
Well.
That's a big
right.
statement.
I know, and like from the people I've seen, like they love the movies, and the movies like Guardians really revived and kept the Marvel movies going, the cinematic universe, because that was right after Dark World and Iron Man 3, I think, which weren't super well received movies, but that one came in and just knocked it out of the park. And so if a game has better dialogue and their characters are better than the movies, yeah, that's got to be a must play for the story alone. And then they said the world is just incredible with just awe-inspiring visuals.
The biggest thing that stuck out for me, the achievements in that game, they're still achievements, but they have so many collectibles in game that once you collect them, they show up in your ship. And you can walk around and like touch them and like interact with them. I think that's so cool.
That's how you do collectibles.
And that's how Jedi Fallen Order did it too. With like, as stupid as it was, but the plants you could collect, the seeds, and they would grow. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Because you go to your ship and your characters would mingle and this and that. So it's just kind of an in-world immersion.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I would have to say my one criticism of the Halo campaign is you go through and you get all the collectibles or the armor pieces, and you really can't see them or they don't show up anywhere, right? They just say you've unlocked them. And I go over to multiplayer and it's like, okay, what did I unlock? I've got no idea.
You have to go off the date, and it's bullshit. They should show you a picture in game so you can see what it looks like. Cause
like, hey, you unlocked for this armor, like a big thing to show me like what I did. Yeah, because there's 3 sets of armors, everything specific to a specific set.
They should have a picture, or they should do like a tag. Because right now you have to go off the date.
Right. A little like notification thing or like a circle like in any other game. It's like, hey, you've got new things you haven't seen on this armor piece. Oh, let me go through and check. Oh yeah, those are cool. I must unlock those from the campaign. Just something as simple as that would go a really long way.
Yeah, I agree.
I think their audio logs are fine for the most part. Like they're like any other audio logs. You can go into your log menu and play them and listen to them.
Yeah.
So that one's not bad. But yeah, like in any of the multiplayer skin stuff or anything else, you can't customize Master Chief while you're going through the campaign. It's just for multiplayer. Like
that's a hard one, man. It's a hard one.
It's Master Chief.
It's Master Chief. Yeah.
And that's how he's going. But they're also unlockables, collectibles, and customizables, right? And so, it just like it didn't feel like it meant as much in that game to like go out and find them or try and get everything because you couldn't immediately see it as you were playing the campaign. It really didn't have that much effect on your campaign playthrough. It was just for multiplayer. But that's really cool that Guardians does that.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Otherwise, we can go into...
I'll just like name off some of the other ones that I know I won't have enough time to do. But still haven't played The Witcher 2 and 3. And I really want to at least get to 3, but it's such a great franchise. I'd love to start off with 2. And I've heard 1's pretty old, but
2's good.
They really built 2 up, especially graphically, to really hold up even to today's standards. So I have that one, just haven't played it yet. Mass Effect Legendary Edition, the trilogy. I bought it for the Xbox and PC and didn't get very far in either of them. Forza Horizon 5. I love the Horizon Forza series where it's open world and you can do whatever you want. I played a bunch of 4 and really loved it. But with Halo dropping and Destiny, I just haven't gotten back to that 5. I only played like the first level or 2. And then Ori 1 and 2, really want to play those, especially for the Switch.
Yeah. It's a hard one for me because the Switch is so awesome to play games like those, but they look so beautiful in high resolution.
That's true.
And they're free on Game Pass. They're free on Game Pass.
Yep, you're absolutely right. I have to play those on Xbox.
Yeah, I would if I were you.
At least number 2 has a Series X enhanced, so you can play at 120 FPS in 4K on your TV.
The lights in that game will make it worth it, because I almost bought them on the Switch when they were on a really steep sale, and I didn't because of the graphic.
That's a really good point. I would like they're great Switch games because they're just perfect portability. You can play them anywhere. They're really low to like render, so they still look really good. But now that you say that, I can't turn that down.
If you're looking for a kind of beautiful platformer like that, but you want to play it on the Switch, it's a Ubisoft game, Child of Light.
Yes,
it's like $2. It's like $2.
I started to play that one on the Xbox. I played like 4 or 5 hours of that one and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's super good on the Switch. It looks, because of the watercolor style.
So then the last 2 I have is The Outer Worlds. Still haven't beat. I said I was gonna wait for the Switch version to go beat that. Bought it and then just like never started.
Dude, it's horrible on the Switch. Don't play it on the Switch.
Really?
It's horrible. It's shitty. It's so shitty. It's unplayable almost.
Well, I already bought it.
Well, I mean, it's a cool collection piece, but yeah, it's really, really bad on the Switch. Beat 'em Up said it was like unplayable. So
ouch. Well, that's. Oh, maybe they've come out with an update since then.
Everyone was joking. They're like, "Yeah, so excited to not play Outer Worlds this weekend because it's too much."
Yeah, that's true. And then Borderlands 3 is my last one that I'd like to go back and beat and play because just like I love the looter shooter genre, and they do a really good job of just like creating a single player kind of experience and story where there's really not an end game you have to go like grind for super hard. So I'd love to go back and beat that one.
Yeah, I'll play that with you.
Yeah, that'd be a fun co-op game for you and me.
Yeah, it's one of those games I've played them all besides that one. So cool. Yeah, man, it's I didn't go as in the weeds with my list, but honestly a lot of the ones on your list were kind of ones that I had on mine too. So but yeah, that's gonna be a feat. So I'll go right into my New Year's resolution, and it goes in what I said earlier, or goes along with what I said earlier. So my gaming New Year's resolution this year is going to be to play video games as if I were a child again. And by that, I mean I'm going to fucking beat the video games that I own. I was looking at my Steam account today. I'm like, dude, there's like literally 80% of the shit in my Steam account I have not beat. So I'm going to, if I buy a game, I'm going to beat it. I'm not going, unless I hate it. If I really don't like it, I'm not going to force myself. Like, I'm going to give it a good old effort, but I'm not going to just like, oh, hot new things up, I'm going to go play it. So
for sure, I think that's my main one as well, is to finish games, because I start so many of them and they're really good and I enjoy them, and I never go back to it. And so I think just like cognitively carving out time for single player games, and then finishing them before you start another one is going to be huge.
I think juggling one multiplayer game and one single player game is my main goal. To accomplish my New Year's resolution.
For sure.
So I'm gonna try my damnedest to beat my backlog. But then it's hard because like I just bought, which I'm so stoked about, the collector's edition for Elden Ring. They just launched more of them, or released more of them. I had to buy the Xbox Series X version and then also just buy the Steam code, but that's going to be my main game I've talked about between that and Halo, but I'm going to make time to get the backlog down this year. So that's pretty cool. We're synced up because we can kind of spot check each other.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, what the fuck are you doing on Destiny, Dan?
Exactly.
Witch Queen.
That's going to be a tough one because I have like a bunch of games that I want to play and play through, especially just like Elden Ring. It'd be really cool to like play through it together, kind of like we did Halo, and be able to talk about it,
right?
Or help each other out, where it's not like, oh, you've already beaten it, and now I'm starting it, and jumping in, kind of a deal. So that'd be really cool. But Witch Queen is going to be tough to play around,
right?
But you have 2 months, so what game or games are you going to beat before Elden Ring comes out?
I wanted to pick up, so I own Sakuro on my Xbox, but I wanted to pick it up on that sale, but I'm forcing myself not to play it because I don't own it on my PC. It's gonna be Tales of Arise. I think Tales of Arise is gonna be the next one I play, and then I'll probably actually, you know what, no, I take that back. It's gonna be the Zelda games because I got that 2DS coming in and I got Ocarina of Time. And just real quick, we're kind of running out of time here, trying to keep these shorter, but Majora's Mask is the most nostalgic game I have and I think about, because as a child when I played that game, I was too young to fully understand and comprehend how to beat the game, and I think we talked about this before. It was before you had guides on the internet. You had that old school dial-up internet. It was brand new, so I spent literally a year or two stuck on this one spot. One of those things where you'd like turn the game on, you still couldn't figure it out, you turn it off, but you'd play it like every day. You just run around and have fun. Like I remember running around and messing with the dog and have you played it at all, Majora's Mask?
No.
There's this little dog in the town you can run around and mess with. I used to like do stuff like that and start the game over thinking I screwed something up. So when I beat that game this year, I'm gonna be on cloud 9. It's one of those video games I've been wanting to beat, and now I finally have the handheld to do it. I didn't want to do the emulation on my computer. I'm just really not into that, and I didn't want to buy a Wii U to play it. So
right. Yep.
But what about you? What's the first one you're going for?
I am going to finish and beat Monster Hunter Stories before Pokemon Legend of Arceus, January 28th. So I have less than a month.
26 days.
To finish that one. So, but I'm going to beat it.
Oh, yeah.
It's happening.
I like it. I got to reinstall Tales of Arise. Oh, wait, no. Nope, I don't, because I'm doing Zelda. I just contradicted myself. So
that's right.
Cool. Well, that was a good conversation, man. That's all I got. You got anything to add?
No.
What do you say?
Until next week, stay nerdy.
Stay nerdy, my friends. All right, take care, everyone.